So this is a public meeting of the Berlin Conservation Commission occurring via Zoom webinar on April 7th, starting roughly at 7 p.m. As a preliminary matter, please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other participants may be able to see you. Take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Confirming member access is John A., Chair of the Berlin Conservation Commission. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me prior to me calling the meeting to order. So people present that I've seen are Carolyn McDonald, say aye.
Aye.
Liz DiChiara.
Aye.
Louise Janda.
Aye.
And Robin Berry.
Aye.
I noticed Holly's with us tonight, which is great. I haven't seen Steve and Walter yet, but they're likely to come.
Nor have I.
A couple of anticipated speakers on the agenda: Robert Holmes of 57 Ball Hill Road and Shannon Clancy of Boundless Adventures. So at any rate, with a quorum of the commission present, I call this meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. on Wednesday, April 7th, 2021. So introduction to remote meeting. This open meeting of the Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Berlin website at www.townofberlin.com. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, provided reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. While no in-person attendance of members of the public is permitted, every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website an audio, video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by the law. The standard public comment portion of this meeting will accommodate limited public comment. For this meeting, the Conservation Commission is convening using the Zoom platform as posted on the agenda, identifying how the public may join. The public is encouraged to follow along during the meeting using the posted agenda and also the shared materials via Zoom. Some ground rules. Commission members and speakers on the agenda, please remember to request recognition before speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Concerning public comment, to the extent that our technical capability allows, public comment will be permitted during the public comment portion of this meeting as follows. Attendees' phones and other devices will be muted unless and until they raise their hand and are recognized by me to speak. I ask each member of the public who wishes to speak to identify their name, and I will afford each speaker time to ask a question or make a brief comment. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. That is that. Blah.
We got Steve.
Oh, good. Hi, Steve. He's muted. Steve, you're muted. Steve, you
there
want
we
to
go.
text?
Now I'm here. Yep.
No, I liked it the other way.
I know. Actually, I did too.
Steve, do you want to call Walter or something?
Okay.
All right. So let's start with the minutes.
I was hoping you go for the hours. You make me call Walter. It's gonna start things off, you know.
There we go. All right. Minutes from March 17th. Meeting opened at 7:05 p.m. John opened the meeting with the usual preamble. Attendees were John, Louise, Steve, Carolyn, Liz, and Robin. Other attendees included Brian Waterman of WDA Group of Riverbridge, Keith Borum of 64 Banner Road, Art Allen of 64 Banner Road, James Stead of 102 Crosby Road, and Peg Stone of the Berlin Select Board. Number one, review minutes of March 3rd, 2021 were reviewed and corrected. Steve moved to approve the minutes with corrections. Liz seconded the motion, which passed by roll call vote. Everybody said aye. Treasurer's report, none that meeting. Bills and forms, none. Mail notices, Mark 9 training. John reported the dates that the Berlin Conservation Lands will be used for Mark 9 rescue dog training. The training take place at the Brewer Brook site in Mount Pisgah. There might have been one at 40 Caves towards the end. The first one was canceled because of fertile pools. B, John asked for a motion to approve the dates of the training. Liz so moved. Steve seconded the motion, which passed by unanimous roll call vote.
Walter's coming. He forgot there's a meeting tonight.
Thank you, Steve. MACC Environmental Conference, Concom discussed attending the MAC Environmental Conference. Superseding order of conditions, DEP 107 0254. The Concom notified that DEP had ruled to allow the applicant's building plan with several restrictions. The Concom had questions about how the erosion control monitor would be selected to make sure there was no conflict of interest. John contacted Judy Schmidt of DEP for clarification, but had received no response, and I have still not received a response. Definitive subdivision 120 to 128 Highland Street, notification from the planning board that 128 Highland Street will be subdivided into 2 more lots. Number 5, new date for annual town meeting, May 15th. Number 6, Santos excavation permit report. Steve reported the earthwork board on the status of the soil importation on Old Central Street. There are no wetlands in the area, so the Concom is not involved at this point. Wetlands, number 1, Highland Ridge, DEP 107-0241. No new issues. 100 River Road. John reported that Concom had received a check from Beals and Thomas, who will be drawing up the plans. No, sorry.
Should be.
No.
Oh. John.
Sorry, I missed this earlier.
Oh, she left the C off of the first C off.
Well, maybe they received tech too. I don't know. We don't get any money, not even beer money for this one.
Ugh.
32 Allen Road, no action. 6 appointments, 730-64 Banner Road, restoration plan, Keith Barham and John Rockwood. Keith Barham attended the Concom meeting to respond to the enforcement order placed on the 64 Banner Road wetland violation. Art Allen, a wetland professional from Ecotech. It's not Ecotech, it's just represented Mr. Barham in place of John Lockwood. Mr. Allen described the unintentional wetland violation and presented modified plans by Ecotech dated February 5th. The original plans were drawn up by Kelly Engineering Group. The Concom reviewed the screen shared plans. Mr. Allen described the steps that would be taken to restore the wetland area. The plan indicated that erosion controls will be put in place. Boulders will be used to mark the wetlands when work is completed, and the area will be seeded to stabilize the site. Straw waddles and seed blankets will be used for erosion control. Restoration work is expected to start in the spring with a target date of September 2021. The Concom will be notified when the erosion controls are in place. Keith gave the Concom permission to do site visits as the work is being done. Carolyn moved to accept the plans as presented. Liz seconded the motion, which passed by unanimous roll call vote. 8 o'clock, 102 Crosby Road, certificate of compliance, EP 107-0238, James Stead, owner of 102 Crosby, met with the Concom to request a COC, which he needs to refinance his mortgage. John and Walter reported that a site visit to the property found the area to be stabilized so a COC could be issued. Steve moved to issue a COC for this DP 107-0238, 102 Crosby Road. The second motion was passed by unanimous roll call vote, and he has received it. Certificate of compliance request, River Bridge LLC, DP 107-0229. John reported that both he and Walter had done site visits and found the forebay had been repaired and the COC could now be issued. The COC was stipulated as an ongoing condition that the straw waddles and silt fence be removed once the path to the canoe launch is completed. John asked for a motion to accept the request for a COC. Carolyn so moved with the second Steve, unanimous. New business right of first refusal, lot 2, Lyman Road. John reported that lot 2 identified as 7. I think you have to fix that. Since the lot was in 61B, the town, I don't. I've already filed that piece of paper. I have to look on that. Following discussion whether to use our right of first refusal, John asked for a motion to issue a negative right of first refusal. Liz moved that the Concom recommended the select board that the town waive its right of first refusal for that property. Carolyn seconded. The motion was passed by unanimous roll call vote. I think it's just 17.5, but I will double check that. Liz reported on the community one-stop growth webinar, which she attended on Zoom. The program would combine grant applications into one step. She described possible grants the town might apply for. Old Business Earth Day. Louise reported on plans for the April 24th Earth Day, which will use Bridge Really as a sign-up and bag distribution site. Posters and flyers will be designed and placed around town. The information will also be posted on Berlin nearest connected to the Conservation Facebook page. Wetland bylaw, and John is working on the highlighted version of the final draft of the proposed wetlands bylaw, which will be used to explain how most of the bylaw reflects the present state Wetlands Protection Act regulations. John and Carolyn reported on the feedback they received from the meeting with the ZBA. Carolyn will post the notice for the Zoom public hearing in the item, which is scheduled for April 21st, 2021. The Concom discussed other plans for informing the public about the bylaw. Next, conservation agent, no progress. Notice of intent 107-0256, Mike Sawyer, Allen Road. John reopened the hearing on Mike Sawyer's NOI application. Report of DEP 107-0256 has been assigned by DEP. John asked for a motion to issue a OOC for DEP 107-0256. Liz so moved. Ron seconded the motion, which passed by unanimous roll call vote. No action, no action, no action. And I was hopeful that an executive session would occur today, but it will not be. Liz moved to adjourn the meeting. Steve seconded the motion, which passed by unanimous roll call vote. Meeting ended at 8:38 p.m. Minutes recorded by Louise and John. Thoughts?
Looks good.
All right.
John, you made the comment about that 40 Ks is supposed to be used. I believe in the email that said that they were doing Sudbury Valley was doing something there that day, so they canceled that one.
Oh, they canceled both of them?
At 40 K. I believe that's what it said in the minutes, but it was not mentioned at the meeting last time that 40 Ks was one of the sites.
It is.
Right.
To my knowledge, it hasn't been canceled. There's actually several.
Postponed.
Well, it was just the March 28th one was canceled because of vernal pools activity, but there's 3 others that are scheduled. I'm looking at the original email.
Mm-hmm.
They're mostly at Pittsburgh, Burbrook, but there are 3 at 40 Ks for whatever it's worth. It doesn't matter that much.
Okay. Walter will be with us shortly. He's trying to figure out how to get on.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Walter's still trying to figure out how to get on.
Okay. Excellent.
He hasn't done this before.
Yeah. Not in 2 or 3 weeks.
3 weeks, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on some international phone number.
Oh, there he is.
I had to uninstall Zoom and reinstall it, and now it seems better.
That's
Oh,
because you've
good.
been down south. You know, that's why.
Things are slower down there.
Ah,
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, it's 17.5. The lot is 17.5.
Good evening.
So then,
There he
I will-
is.
so I'll move to approve the minutes as corrected.
Second.
third.
Great. Okay. Roll call vote. John, I. Louise,
I
Liz,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Robin,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye. Aye.
Walter. Wait.
Hi.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
All right. Next up, treasurer's report.
All right, let me pull that up. All right, so wetlands fund remains unchanged at $11,432.97. The open space fund is 186,700 and, oh, wait a minute, this might be, I think I have an error here. I think it's supposed to be 7. Oh, I'm sorry, no. So 186,700 and, or I'm sorry, $186,752.91 for open space. And then the budget is $857.35.
800, say it again, 800, how much?
$857.35.
Okay, can you repeat the wetlands fund?
Sure, it's $11,432.97. So
Okay.
Louise, that's the one that hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, thank you.
No problem.
All right. Bills and forms. I have a personal request for reimbursement for certified mailings. 2 mailings, one for $11.40, one for $7.65, for a total of $19.05.
For who?
Me,
Oh, well, that's a different story.
I know.
I make a motion to approve pay John just shy of $20.
I'll second that. Oh,
Brownie points.
I know. Okay, I'll third it.
Great. So vote Louise,
Aye.
Liz,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Robin,
Aye.
Steve,
I
Walter.
Aye.
All right, I'm abstaining.
And John, can you repeat those amounts again, please?
Yes. So I think it'll come under I put them on the same form. You know, they were just different days because I was going to drop off Mr. Stead's, and I ended up certified mailing because I couldn't get a hold of him.
Okay.
But it was $11.40 and $7.65 for a total of $19.05.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
John broke the bank.
Right?
No, not exactly. But I do have a confession to make. I impulsively ordered something before asking for permission. So I fully accept that
It may be yours.
it may be entirely mine. And I don't really mind that actually so much, but, and I don't even have a bill to present yet. When I was up at Pisgah in March, I noticed that the 2 trail signs that I placed up there had delaminated and the paper was rotting. So I figured, well, I'll just copy what Dan did at Peach Hill and get some of those aluminum signs. So I contacted Dan, and I figured we'll get a couple more, one for the red trail where it enters Northborough, one for where Sutharian's parking lot area is. And then of course I wanted them a little bigger. So he said so I said that, you know, and then they're all going to have "You Are Here" signs. It'll be about $350. So I don't know. So you guys have to think about whether I didn't ask for permission, so I fully accept my responsibility for that. And you know, it was a sort of a pet project, so that's why I just sort of acted impulsively without thinking.
I forgive you.
We don't have to though. That's the thing. So anyway, I just want to let you know that I did that, but they're not even available yet. So
Would we take that out of the 800?
yeah, we would.
Mm-hmm. What was the cost of the signs?
350?
I don't have it. It's around 350, but I don't even have an exact figure yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, when you get
I think-
the bill,
Yeah.
we'll vote, but I mean, we have the money in the budget. I don't think we have any other expenditures coming up in the next couple of months. So, and it's a more permanent solution to what we've done in the past, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And Sutharian will probably appreciate that as part of our work.
Yes. Yeah. So I was going to install that once because I think the highway department's going to put in some demarcations for the parking lot to keep people
Can I
off of
jump
the
in on that
lawn.
subject, or you want to wait for that till be later?
You might as well do it now, Steve.
Okay, I've gotten multiple emails from Sue wondering when that fence is or the highway is going to do their work. I have not been able to get in touch with Dave, but I got in touch with Fred, who's been working on our street, picking up trees. I mentioned to him to talk to Dave to see if you know, if it's on his agenda stuff. I know that they don't have many employees, so they're down a little bit, but Sue's getting a little edgy saying traffic's starting to pick up again with the weather, and she wants to know when it's going to happen. Otherwise, she's talking to her lawyer again. She might want to shut it down until we get a fence in.
Where are we supposed to put a fence?
Right in where the parking lot is.
And the highway department was gonna do that for us,
That's
right?
correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I'm talking to Dave. Is it Dave?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's Dave.
Dave Smith.
Smith.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, nice guy. Oh
Um,
yeah, no, he knows about it. Just he's probably got more higher priority things on his plate than when he only 2 employees under him.
Yeah.
Right, doesn't
Um,
seem worthy of bringing in legal,
Oh,
bringing in lawyers.
Well, that way they can send a certified letter to the town saying that land's not allowed to be used until the fence is up or the gate's up. I don't know. Just,
Well, I don't think they can throw that into there. Is that part of the initial agreement that the fence was supposed to be put up? I don't think it was, so
Okay.
they
I
can't.
don't know.
do this stuff.
Whatever. I'm just letting you know that I've talked to the
Well,
highway department
It's a bluff.
and
It's a bluff.
okay.
But anyway, they could still put up a woven wire fence and get it done.
And for the record,
Steve.
we've tried for years to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Steve, do you want to email him from the town website, or you want me to do that?
Actually, why I've talked to him already earlier when they were cutting the trees down on the street. I'll send another one out. I sent one out and I've talked to a couple of highway guys. I don't know if I want to be pushy or not, but I guess I'll send one out.
Well, it's not really pushy. It's just sort of follow up.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try to follow up, see if I can get a timeline out of them. I'll go that route.
Yeah.
Maybe tell them what the threat is.
I kind of hinted that to Fred a little bit that, you know, I've gotten multiple emails and phone calls. So,
Okay.
All right, getting back to the Pisgah signs, John.
Yep.
It is pretty extravagant. What if we did that on other trails, and it will take care of this, but to me, it's a philosophic thing. I like to keep things simple. I'm amazed we can't find someone that knows how to use a router and put together a bunch of signs for us, like a wood sign, painted brown, white lettering, sort of parkish looking sign, without getting too fancy with this metal sign stuff. I think, let me try and find someone, even if we put something on Facebook to see if there's anybody that would make signs for us. Do you all, is that all right with you
Walter?
folks? Yeah.
Well, it's a map. It's not a sign. It's a map.
Oh, all right.
So a routed map would actually probably cost much
No,
more.
all right. So we wouldn't do a routed map, of course. But I saw there's maps. Of course, they're in one of those shelter things on the. I took the kids around Brewer Brook this afternoon, and the sign is quite legible. And there is a way. I mean, there's got to be some kind of plastic coating you can put over a paper sign or something. But we don't want to be making metal signs for $300 for all of our trail entrances.
I completely agree with you. I don't think we need to do that at all. I mean, the thing is that the reason this all started 4 years ago is, that people were getting, there are complaints about people getting turned around and lost in Pisgah. Peg talked to us about it. So the idea was to sort of help make sure that, because the trail system which developed organically is not logical, is to just sort of give people a sense of where they are so they can get out again. That was the whole point of this thing. And so I paid for a couple of laminated signs. I paid for them myself out of Staples with the heaviest stuff I could find, and they seemed okay, but they've come apart and they've rotted. So, but the point was really just to because there was, you know, and I don't think any other trail system in the park needs it, in the town, I'm sorry, needs it. You know, SVT takes care of 40 caves and the rest of it's all either too simple or not used enough. You know, it's really just a sort of a unique situation with Tisca.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Carolyn?
Do you know if you can put a QR code on it?
There is one.
Oh, excellent. Even
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Dan does a nice job.
Okay. Cool. I think it's a nice thing that I've started to see that I think is handy. And if we're going to spend all this money for something going into the future, it would be nice to have it on.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. So it's almost 7:30. Let me just as far as update on wetlands. You know, Pat Garner continues to check out the Highland Ridge place and things look fine. You know, he's made some recommendations about taking out some of the silt, but other than that, the last couple of reports have been demonstrated that things look good. I sort of miss seeing Pat though. We don't have any environmental disasters to call him in for. I'll have to find one.
Is the solar farm put to bed?
No, it's 90% put to bed. We gave them a partial COC, so they'll eventually have to come back and ask for a full COC, and you know we'll get Pat out there then. The 100 River Road West is Walter sent on that email a couple weeks ago that you know the engineering firm is you know, taking measurements and so getting stuff done. I haven't noticed any work being done there. I don't know if you have, Walter.
No, I tried call Dave Burke a couple times, but it's hard to get through. It's hard to get him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Robin or Carolyn is Robert Holmes.
Yep.
All right.
Do you want me to promote him? Are we ready?
Yeah, it's 7:30-ish. So.
Okay.
Somebody's spring peepers sound good.
That's me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I filled in all the swamps near my property, so I don't get peepers anymore.
No, I think your builder did.
Yeah. So I should open that window too, actually.
After that email I sent around about the birds here, I went outside and noticed Phoebes are down underneath the sheep barn. So now I've got another species nesting on the property.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, folks.
Robert Holmes, good evening.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Great.
So this is a request for determination of applicability concerning the expansion of a back lawn into a buffer zone.
Correct.
We actually had talked about this property regarding the building permit for their garage, their detached garage. And I had gone out to the property just to make sure that some erosion control barriers are put in place at the edge of the construction site, which was still all outside the buffer zone because there were wetlands back there. So I've already sort of done a site visit. What I noticed out there is that I wouldn't have noticed that there were wetlands, at least at this time of year. And it's a pretty flat property. Now, anyway, so Bob, how do you want to go about this? Can you screen share stuff? You want me to screen share stuff?
I can screen share, I believe, if I have permission anyways. Let's see.
You do.
All right. So first of all, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Nice to virtually meet everybody. So we bought the property on 57 Ball Hill Road in the fall. It has about 14 acres all in, 10 of which are in a permanent conservation restriction. And we are building a detached garage on the property on the part of the land that's not part of the conservation restriction. And while I have the equipment in doing some site prep, I would really like to just expand the yard a little bit because it's quite tight, and I've got 3 little girls that just had their first soccer practice tonight, and I want to give them a little more space to run around and play. Prior to the garage even planning and permitting, I asked Steve Sears from Ross and Associates to come to the property and help me understand what wetland constraints I might have. And so he did a wetland delineation for me and flagged it, which allowed me to, I'm going to share a plan now, which allowed me to develop a building envelope for our garage. And so as we've proceeded forward with the garage plan, which is inside of this kind of peachish red color, if you can see my screen, it occurred to me that, hey, I'd love to grow the yard a little bit, but it would encroach into this buffer zone that I had marked out to determine the building envelope. It was then when I spoke to some locals that said, wetlands? You have wetlands back there? I've been there before. I don't recall ever seeing wetlands. And so at that point, you know, in learning a little bit more about Ross and Associates and the role they play, I thought, you know, maybe I should have this checked out. Perhaps I'm over constraining myself. Perhaps these aren't wetlands, you know, that are protected by you know, the Wetland Protection Act. Maybe I'm overreacting here. So what I'd like to do is expand the yard into the yellow zone, as I've shown here on the drawing. And that would encroach into about 50 foot into the buffer zone if indeed I require a buffer zone there, if these are truly protected wetlands versus isolated wetlands or something else.
Well, yeah, we're going to presume they're wetlands, but for now, anyway,
Sure.
That's what Sears said. But go ahead.
So that's really it. You know, we as I mentioned, you know, we're trying to do things by the book and make sure we're not we're being, you know, good environmental stewards as we go through this project, and are looking for an understanding of whether the WPA applies for this portion of land that we're hoping to clear and expand into yard.
Thanks, Bob. Anybody have any questions?
I can't read the numbers for the slope.
Yeah, I apologize. So is that better?
Yeah. So it looks like it goes down about 10 feet from the top to the bottom.
Exactly. Right. It's a steep and short slope, and then it's pretty flat. There is a slight grade, but it's pretty flat back here.
Yeah, John?
Yep.
Yeah. As you know, I viewed it too with Bob, and I think you know, staying at least 50 feet away from the flagged wetlands. He's in the buffer zone, and he's going to leave. He could go up, as you know, at this point, virtually to the edge of it, unless he wanted a 25-foot thing. But it is pretty flat there, and there's some tree clearing, and I don't see it as a big threat to the wetlands at all. It's legal. It's illegal what he wants to do. So, you know, I just want to, Liz, you asked a good question about slope, but the slope is very flat, basically where he wants to clear land.
Go ahead.
End of comment.
Thanks, Walter. Any other questions or comments, Carolyn?
So, I mean, I totally agree with what Walter said. I guess I would add, so there, some trees would have to come out of there in order to do this.
Yep.
So I assume that we would ask for silt fencing and waddles.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my only other thing would be fertilizer. The use of fertilizer, and if you would refrain. Just because excess, I'm not sure if you understand why we would ask for that, but fertilizer has a high nitrogen content.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you were to use a lot of fertilizer, and it washed into the wetlands, a high concentration of nitrogen reduces the oxygen level in the water and encourages algae growth, which then serves to clog up the wetlands. So that would be my only two requests. So it actually, it shows proposed straw wattles at the top of the slope, but if you're
Oh.
cutting the trees down, you're
I can explain that.
okay, thank you. Oh, is that from the garage?
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
Yep.
So Bob's been using the same map and just keeps adding to it.
Sure.
It's much cheaper that way.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, that was from the building permit. So the building permit had come across the website, as you know, Carolyn, and so I reviewed it and said, well, there should be erosion controls.
Yep.
And they put them in, and that's why I went out there.
I see.
So, and then he used the same map to put in where he wants to put his yard.
Excellent.
So, you know, right behind the house where the septic is, you know, you can see that where they brought in the fill. So presumably they would be adding some more fill to make it that slope more gradual. Is that correct? They would have to bring in some kind of dirt fill because it's rocky there.
Yeah, a little, John. My intent is not to, you know, create a level grade from the flat part of the yard where the septic is straight back. I mean, that would be a tremendous amount of fill. I may just soften the transition a little bit so you can walk down it easily. But otherwise, I intend to keep the grade where it is.
Okay.
In the area we're talking about.
All right. So the Carolyn.
Yes, sir.
So we would want erosion control barriers at the 50-foot spot.
Yep, at the bottom. Yep.
Yeah. And I would presume that we'd want silt fence and straw wattles at this point, because there will need to be something brought in.
Yeah, especially this time of year. I mean, we can get heavy spring rains, and as we all know, you know, loose dirt on a slope, heavy spring rains. We've had more than one encounter with problems in the past. So just for everybody's peace of mind, you don't want to have to pay to pull all that dirt out of the wetlands. It's just easier to put up the silt fence before you start moving any soil or anything. And they should stay up until it's stabilized.
So if this goes, if we agree here, that means that 100-foot buffer could just be moved back to the 50.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, kind of. I mean, right. I mean, they probably wouldn't move the straw wattles at this point much, but I guess you're right, Steve. They could just bring it this way. But these are just wattles. I only asked for wattles. This would have to be a silt fence.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because this was outside. This work was outside the buffer zone. I only asked for wattles. Any other questions or comments?
Soccer ball's gonna roll.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
Good luck.
Kind of more rhetorical, but if he wanted to put a pool in that area later, it would have to come back to us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would require an NOI because of all the construction.
Okay.
Right.
I don't intend on putting a pool in there.
Little girls can be persuasive.
I know, but they're gonna have to get part-time jobs if they want to.
Yeah. Better chance of getting a pony, huh?
You want a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, let me explain to Bob what this motion is. we need to do so we're going to be voting to have a negative determination of applicability. What that means is that you don't have to file an NOI. Okay. So when you we'll take the vote. I will, send, we'll get signatures, then I'll send it to you, and it'll have some specific directions that say that you need to first install the erosion control, which would be both the straw waddles and the silt fence. Okay. And where depending on the ground, the terrain, the silt fence and straw waddles would need to either the silt fence would either be dug in or at least covered by the straw waddles, depending on the terrain. So that's what we're. I'm sorry, I got distracted by a text message. So that's what we're going to be voting on.
Can we also ask that we can check in while construction's happening? Can we take a look?
If we want.
Well, he would have to let us know when the waddles and silt fence has been moved, right? So that we can verify it.
Right. So we would, thank you, Louise. Yes, we would request that somebody be able to go over there and check the erosion control barriers are in place before you start messing around with it.
Okay.
Is that acceptable, Bob?
Yeah, certainly. The garage project is pretty far behind, and that's probably most projects are like this. So I expect that we're going to be starting site work on the garage as soon as Friday. We won't be working in the area we're discussing now. So I'm going to move pretty quickly to get the silt fences and waddles in, because I want to just take advantage of the opportunity while the machinery's there. It would be a pretty major inconvenience to have to bring it back, right? So we'll jump on it, and you're welcome to come look at it.
Great. So you can just email me at you've been using my Gmail address, and then
Okay.
I'll either myself or somebody will, maybe Walter probably has a more flexible schedule. We'll come out there and just take a look at it.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so we have this plan on file.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, no, I have both the written and the electronic
Okay.
version of the file.
that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
And don't touch the wetland flags.
Okay.
Right.
Do we have the date on these plans and who they were drawn up by?
I do. They're on the,
Well, it should be on the corner of this
RDA.
plan, right?
yeah, I can also
So
tell you.
Yeah, I Bill Cundiff out of Leicester wrote this. Obviously I texted over the original title of the project because as John mentioned, I'm reusing this. And I marked this up on March 17th. But the original was drawn in February 1.
Okay. All right, I see the date, 3/17/21.
Right. So I'll stop sharing unless you want to keep looking at this.
You can stop sharing. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion for a negative determination of applicability with the stipulation that straw waddles and silt fence be put in place before any of the work is done, and that the erosion control barriers be inspected by one of us before the work is done.
So move.
Second.
Okay. So roll call vote. Louise,
Aye.
John, I, Liz,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Robin,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
and Steve.
Aye.
All right, you're good to go, Bob. Well, you're almost. So
Thank you.
I now need to collect signatures, and then I will either mail you by certified mail, or we can exchange it, whatever like that. I can stop by and talk to your dad, something like that.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
that's fine.
And one way or the other, we'll get it to you. But basically you're good. It's just the first thing you need to do is put those erosion control barriers in place and have one of us look at them.
Okay, not a
Okay.
problem. And I'm gonna, yeah, I'll just run it right along the buffer zone, right? That's what we're on, where the 50-foot buffer
50
zone
foot,
line.
Yes.
Yeah, right. You're gonna run it along the 50-foot line.
Okay, not a problem. I'll reach out to you guys as soon as it's installed.
All right.
Excellent.
Thanks, Bob.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Yep.
And the fertilizer piece, is
Yeah.
that noted? Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Not a problem.
Awesome.
We're keeping
Thank
it
you so
rustic.
much. Thanks for being a good steward and thanks for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys. Have a nice night.
Thanks, Bob.
Yep.
Good night.
Bye.
You too.
We move on, John, just a heads up, the bear's in town. We got him.
The bear
you?
always is in
Oh,
town.
we got a nice picture of him.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. My outdoor camera caught him and he demolished my feeder.
I think there's more than one.
He's a good size. He's a good size one. He was walking and I have a couple of 55-gallon drums behind my cover tent in the backyard. And him walking was as high as those, if a little bit more.
My neighbor warned me on Easter Sunday. So I, oh, no, actually it was Monday. And so I installed an electric fence around it. I sort of quickly usurped my vegetable garden electric fence and put it around the one hive we have left at this point. We have 2 more arriving soon, but
Yeah.
and then after about a month, the bear stops being interested. They get less hungry after about a month.
You know, actually, Steve, the easiest way to do it, the next time you see him, go out and kick him in the ribs.
Oh, yeah,
Hey.
right.
Yeah, right, Walter.
Right. So John, when we ask for signatures now, put the paperwork inside the electric fence and see if anybody can get in there to do it.
Well, you just have to reach over and turn it to off.
Fortunately, the bear doesn't have that kind of dexterity.
It doesn't read, so
Oh.
yeah. So. All right. So we got about 10-15 minutes till Shannon joins us.
Okay, she is here. Just so you know.
Probably just to wait for 8.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So under mail and notices, there was another building permit thing I dealt with for one of these plasterage development things. I just had them extend the erosion control barriers a little bit. Just FYI, they did it. I asked them to do it and they did it. It's already done. So I signed off on the building permit. Under old business, Louise, how's the Earth Day planning going?
It's coming along pretty well. You know, we have the bag, another box of bags. We've got some posters up in a lot of places. We've got a few people that have already emailed or, you know, posted on Facebook that they were out collecting trash. And what we're decided to do this year is we're doing a raffle. So we're asking local businesses and craftspeople to make donations. And so far we have 5 of the farms in town have given us, 4 farms have given us donations of, you know, to be raffled off to the people collecting the trash.
Are they gift certificates or?
Gift certificates, yeah. That
Awesome.
way they have to go to the, you know, rather than us running around and delivering the product, they go to there and pick up their
Sure.
prize. Right. We're talking to some of the liquor stores to make some donations also.
That's
So-
a bit too ironic.
Yeah, right?
Mm.
Given that half what we're picking up is empty
Is booze.
containers of
Yeah.
booze.
Right, yeah. Well, I don't know if people want to collect the cans, but I know Bob Blair collects the cans and turns them into, what is it? Doctors Without Borders. And we're also working with a couple of the liquor stores on possibly making a donation based on the number of nip bottles that we collect. And that's a possibility. And the idea would be the money from the nip bottles would go to the food donation to the food pantry.
On a practical level, though, you know, as I'm picturing myself walking down the road picking up stuff.
Right, I know.
Right.
Like,
and
how
are
do
you gonna
you
count them?
sequester nip bottles, you know, as opposed, and some of them are kind of grody.
Right, yeah. It is something that the liquor store in Sterling did last year, and they collected quite a bit of money. They collected a couple of $100 to be given to the food pantry. So we thought we'd try it and see how it works.
So you have to
Okay.
put them in a different bag?
Yeah.
Right,
Oh, yuck. Can't be bothered.
yeah. You know, if
Well-
it doesn't work, then we just won't do it, but it's thought.
Yeah. And if
And
people
I think
know
it
that,
calls attention to the fact that how many, you know, the number of nip bottles and beer and bottles and everything.
is
are
it
being thrown
all
out.
alcohol bottles or just nip bottles?
No, the liquor stores would do something with the nip bottles. Right, the return, you know, the other cans could be returned. You know, we could return them ourselves.
How about the half liters of vodka?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It helps
not
pick up the
kidding.
trash.
yeah, right. You know, I mean, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, you know. But, you know, I think we're getting a lot of support from the businesses, the small businesses. And it's, you know, helping them, promoting them a little bit, which is, I think, a good idea.
Mhm.
Excellent.
And at the table, Louise, could we have some of the signs that are gonna come in for our warrant, our wetlands bylaw?
Okay, I did talk to the Hollyoaks about that, and they would prefer not to have that happen because it could be a controversial issue. And they're trying to stay, you know, as a business here in town, they're trying to stay away from political issues.
That's fair. You know, they're generous in letting us use their spot and everything. That's fair.
Right, and they're, you know, they're providing some of their own funds and everything, right? So I think, you know, I can understand where they're coming from.
Yep. Disappointing, but definitely understandable.
Right, you know, I don't think there would be a problem with, you know, like, if Liz and I are there just mentioning to people, you know, oh, by the way,
Right.
you know,
Any questions about the bylaw that we're voting on May 17th at 6:30?
Speaking of the bylaw, on the next old business, we have our informational session tomorrow night at 7.
Our first informational session.
Yes.
Oh, Miss Peg has her hand up when you're.
Uh,
Do
okay.
you want? Okay.
Sure, why not?
Hello, Miss Peg.
Well, good evening, peeps. How are you?
Oh,
You
good.
like that, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Good name for her.
Thank you. John, have you spoken with Amy, Town Council, on her suggested changes for the bylaws?
I tried.
Go ahead.
So, you know, Margaret sent around the bylaw with her changes and comments. And then I commented on that. And then today, Margaret suggested I call Amy, and I did, and I have yet to hear back from her. So I'll try first thing tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
The changes are really minimal. You know, the stuff she did in light blue, those changes are insignificant. The lilac comments, it's really just some mild wording issues. There really isn't anything there that's too, you know, dramatic. It was just, you know, there's essentially one of the issues just had to do with, you know, a reference to cutting Oriental bittersweet, and how we could have said something along the lines of notwithstanding the above, whatever. You know, she read the appeal section without comment, So I think that's fine. But I will talk to her tomorrow, or at least I'll try to.
Well, because I had a chance to talk to Margaret tonight, and we really need you to get in touch with Amy before this goes to press on Friday. Otherwise, we will ask to override it at town meeting, that we will just pass it by, because we
I don't
need town
understand, Peg,
council
why?
on it. Okay.
Peg, I don't understand that. If you looked at what she suggests, the changes she made are acceptable. They were really, it was just, instead of grandfathering, it was pre-existing and something else.
And that's fine. I mean, I'm just saying that if you guys all agree that the changes are good to go based on Amy's suggestion, then we're going to need something to show that you and Amy have chatted, and you are in agreement for
But Peg,
those
what if I
changes.
can't get a hold of her? I mean, they're really, I would, I can show you the changes.
Oh, I've seen them. I've seen them.
The two blue changes, they're insignificant. The rest of it's commentary without suggestion for change. It's just commentary.
Well, what I can do is I can put a call into Margaret. I know she's at finance right now, to ask her if she can help put a message out to Amy to definitely get in touch with you. But we just want to have, and as we're doing to anybody else that has changes in wording from town council, that we have, at least we can acknowledge that you've talked, and, insignificant as it may be, that you've had an actual conversation with her and you guys are in agreement on these changes.
So what if we just accept the changes that she has suggested?
That would be fine. That's up to you guys to decide to vote to accept her changes.
Because
or
like
to try
John
to get in
said,
touch
they
with
are
you.
minimal.
Okay.
Peg, what else is of concern? I'm really flummoxed here.
Well, Margaret's just concerned is, there's, changes as small as they are, that, if it's interpreted one way, you guys had wanted it a different way, what is it going to be? We don't want to put the town in any sort of, potential issue with that. So, as I said, we're just asking every board that has an item before them where town council has come back, that we are asking them to meet with Amy.
Well, fine, but like, this is like a very short notice on a very major thing. I'm really flummoxed. I feel like there's some other, it
No,
just
there
doesn't
isn't.
make sense to me.
There isn't. I mean, we all agreed, to have them to the printer by Friday. And, we were able to get it out to KP Law for their review. They were able to get their comments back to us actually pretty quickly compared to years ago. So we're just
right.
all circling back for that. So if you agree.
Well,
and-
let me just go. Shannon's just gonna have to wait a second. I'm just gonna screen share here. This is the wetlands bylaw thing. So, I mean, there's, she's, for instance, freshwater wetlands may want to specify bordering, but that's encompassed. That's fine. It's not necessary. This is just the whereas, again, this is just because we want to let people cut. These are just commentary. This is the actual change. She struck out grandfather and put pre-existing.
I don't think there was much after that.
This is actually a mistake on her part, in my opinion, because that's the point of this, is that it allows us to do this where the Wetland Protection Act didn't allow us to do it. That's the whole point of putting it in there.
Right.
And again, this is just the same point.
Right. What that does is that the Wetlands Protection Act gives 3 years and we're giving 5. So we're actually giving more time to people than the Wetlands Protection Act does.
A decision of the country pursuant to his bylaws. So that's the only other change she made. And here's just commentary. Do you sure you want to split the cost? And that was Carolyn's idea, to make sure that everybody's on equal playing field. And that's it. That's it.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's those two blue things and some commentaries. I mean, I just don't want to have this completely tabled just because I can't get a hold of a lawyer
Correct.
in a 24-hour notice. Entertain a motion to accept those 2 blue changes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right,
Sure.
roll call vote. John, I, Louise. Louise, you're muted.
Louise,
Yeah, she's trying.
You're muted, Louise. It's on the lower left.
There we
Okay,
go.
I,
Liz,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Robin,
Aye.
Walter,
I,
and Steve.
I save the best for last all the time.
Always do, Steve. So Peg,
I
is that
know.
acceptable?
Yeah, it is.
Carolyn, you moved.
Yep.
I'll shoot a note to Margaret tonight and let her know, so she can get in touch with Amy tomorrow that you guys have accepted her changes.
I will
as
still try to
stated.
get a hold of Amy, but
Yep,
holy smokes.
I know, last minute, but it's, we made a promise to get them out on time because that has been one of the biggest gripes from folks in the town that, hey, here's the town meeting. And even though the town meeting has been pushed out, we didn't want to give time, kind of like push it out like, we got a week, we got 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden it's like, holy crap, we're out of time. So we're sticking to the original one.
Still. I mean, if she's in court tomorrow, I would have been screwed. We would have been screwed. Thank you, Peg.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Shaking his head. I know.
Yes.
I'm going through
Um,
the same thing and something else.
Anyway, our public hearing is April 21st and coffee talk is April 22nd at 6:30 p.m. All right, so please, Shannon, it's 8:02, so it's not too late.
Peg's
Please
hand.
promote Shannon.
Oh, no, never
No.
mind. Oh, Peggy, you really trying to say something else or not?
No, I am. I was gonna step aside, but for coffee talk at 6:30, you guys are on first. So
Oh,
John and
thank you,
Carolyn.
Peg.
Yep, I know that you guys
Awesome.
said you would be there. Okay,
Yep.
that's it. That's all I got.
Thank you, Peg.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
So when is coffee talk?
The 22nd. All right, I'm promoting Shannon. Shannon, are you there?
She's muted.
She is.
Yes, unmute her.
I can't. She has to do it herself.
Oh, you don't have the power?
Nope.
Shannon, it's the lower left.
Oh, there she is.
Are we looking for me?
Yep.
You were muted.
I wasn't sure.
Shannon.
I don't know. I got put off like 20 minutes ago. So
Hi, Shannon.
how are you doing, John?
I'm okay. So this is a request for determination of applicability concerning an electrical conduit, an excavation for an electrical conduit within the buffer zone. And several of us did a site visit there last fall. Well, 3 of us, Carolyn, Steve, and I believe were there.
Yep, that's right.
And Shannon and I have been back and forth about this quite a bit. I think we finally got it nailed down. So if you allow me, Shannon, I will screen share a picture of the site plan, okay?
Yep.
Okay, so go ahead, Shannon, why don't you take it away?
Okay, so I mean, I'm no expert on this this kind of stuff here, but I was working with a couple of engineers and finally got one that was able to get this done for us in a timely manner. And I was just trying to move the screen. But so in the red is basically the plan. So over by where it says office and registration, that's the office building. So that whole part with the lines, that's our parking lot. So that's already been built on, and that's already disturbed land. And then we did our best to avoid the wetlands as much as we possibly could. So we're going out and around it instead of through it. And we're just going to add one transformer pad at that the proposed transformer location, as it says, and then to the existing electrical handhold there. I believe we come within a certain amount of footage of the buffer. That's why we had to involve you guys.
So here's, you can see my little hand here running around. This is the 100-foot buffer zone.
Yep.
So this whole project is within the buffer zone.
Part of it, yes.
Yeah. It's,
Not,
I don't know.
not the whole thing, though.
Is that from the other side? 25 feet. It's more, yeah. Oh, that's, maybe you're right. Maybe it goes like this. Anyway, so certainly this part is within it, and this runs along this side here.
Right.
I'm
believe.
sorry, I interrupted Jenny. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was actually saying something, John.
Oh, okay. ahead,
When you and Steve and I went out there, I think what is being proposed now was what we preferred.
Correct.
Yeah.
Um,
We had a proposal that we adjusted it to what you guys had wanted,
Right.
what you had recommended, and so we moved our plans, and this is what you guys had recommended us to do.
Yep. It's what made the most sense. It was the furthest away from anything that was sensitive. And thank you for doing what we asked.
I mean, we want to save the land as best we can. And I loved seeing how because I've been here since the build of the park, and I've loved seeing the land grow back since then. And I've done my best to, I don't yell at people, but I keep people off of the path. Like I keep people, on the path away from the forest, because I want to preserve it, because that's what we're all about. We want these people climbing into the woods. We don't want the woods damaged at all. We don't want the environment damaged at all. So that's really what we're going for. And I, in particular, in this company, am a very big advocate for that. And so I want to do this the right way, and I want to make sure I am taking care of the land. And you guys are the experts, so I'm going to listen to you guys.
So this new line is all going to be buried?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And since it's just the Stone Dust parking lot, that's not that big a deal to dig that.
There's a project description of what she's doing. So they need do you want to run through this, Shannon?
Sure. Yeah. So the first one would just be the road to the pump house, which was the first year I was here back in early 2018. It was easy to drive my truck down, and it has since overgrown to a point where I now have scrapes alongside my truck just from everything growing over. So we just don't want the National Grid trucks that are going to come in. They want to be able to drive down there and not have to deal with that kind of stuff, not have to open your door into a thorn bush kind of thing. So we wouldn't be going past any barriers that are already set. We would stay within those, and then it would just be above ground, not underground with that.
Where is the access road to the pump house? Is that on the map?
Yes, it is, if we go back.
It's right here, right?
Yep. That one.
This is an old cart path.
That's overgrown to the point where we have a four-wheeler. It's very small. And when we're driving to the pump house, I have to put a hand up here to make sure I don't get whacked in the face with stuff. And whoever I'm driving with has to put a hand up here, make sure they don't get whacked in the face with stuff on their way there. So, and it's cool to see that, it can grow back like that, which is awesome. But we do need to brush that down a little bit in order to get this project done.
And it is in the wetland buffer.
Yep, but maintenance is allowed.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Where'd you leave off, Shannon?
So that was the first one. So this is from my trench guy. So repairing the gravel road, there's been 2 divots. So this would just pretty much be leveling out the road itself going to the pump house. Because at this point we've driven the 4-wheeler so many times that the middle of it's caused this little kind of thing here. I don't even think that would involve the conservation whatsoever. We just kind of included it in there. It would just be adding more to the road because it actually it's curved so much to a point where it actually punctured the gas tank on our 4-wheeler. That's how it got that bad. So that we just figured we'd include that in there because that's what we'd want to do that. And it just we're not putting pavement down, we're not putting like asphalt millings, anything like that. It's just we're gonna add like a little more gravel to bring the tires up so that nothing's dragging on the ground when we drive in there. That makes sense.
Yep.
Yep.
So, and so number 4 goes to the just where you're doing the digging.
Mhm.
Okay. And getting back to Carolyn and Steve's point, it was actually, I believe, Steve's idea
I
to
don't know.
use to go up to the middle of the driveway. But the original plan called for it to go up along a berm here.
Right.
And the problem was this berm actually acts as a barrier. So rather than to disturb the berm, we asked that it just go through the middle of the driveway, which they did. So
Yep.
I think it was all pretty straightforward.
Yep.
So you need to put in some erosion control barriers around this area. I don't think that's on the map here. Do you have, there we go. Perimeter 12-inch erosion control product. So the only thing that's not on the map is where it would be, Shannon, the erosion control.
Okay. I believe we spoke about that in our email chain though, and
We might have. There's been a lot of communication.
Just draw it in.
But you had asked about that, and I told, again, I'm not an expert on this stuff. I'm just the manager of the park, so I hear from you, I go to them, I ask for something, they come back to me, I send it to you. So I believe that was already taken care of.
Okay. Well, so I don't know at what time you tune in. So what we'll be doing is we're asking for a vote for what's called a negative determination, which means that essentially there's a form, the determination of applicability, the DOA form, that we'll fill out that says, that the Wetland Protection Act applies, but there's no significant evidence of disturbance. And so we will, if the vote pertains, issuing a negative determination of applicability. That sounds bad, but it's actually good.
Right.
If we issued a positive, it would mean that you would have to file an NOI. If we issue a negative, it means you don't, you can go ahead. With the stipulation that you'll put in the erosion control barriers and no work will be done until they've been inspected. Okay. So that's the next important thing. So we'll take a vote, and if people are in favor of issuing a negative determination of applicability, then that'll be good. Then I need to collect signatures during COVID, which is annoying. And then I'll mail it. Do I mail it to you or to Senny? Or
Please
both?
mail it to me.
Okay. I'll email you, Shannon, or whatever. We'll figure it out. I can potentially hand deliver it to you too, but or whatever. but the most important thing is no work gets started until the erosion control barriers have been inspected by one of us.
Okay.
That's important, okay?
Does
John,
she have a
gotta
s-
get,
the barriers go right along the 25-foot.
well, they go along the, yes, probably, towards the edge of it here, and then probably up like this. This itself is actually, there's sort of almost like this berm, there's a berm here that acts like an erosion control barrier.
Right.
So
So it's really just right around here that's the issue.
Right.
what about the barriers that are already there?
Which, all the.
Is there silt,
well,
silt fence already there?
There is, but what kind of repair is it in? What kind of state of repair is it in?
Right, that,
Or disrepair? So they might work if they're in good enough shape, but you might want to have somebody take a look at them, make sure that, see if any needs to be restaked or re-waddled, if that's a word. So somebody who knows about erosion control is going to have to get in there and make sure that that's all, the wetlands are protected from that.
So
That's
is
the stipulation.
that you guys, or is that, you know, because I
We-
am kind of on a bit of a time crunch. The line that starts from the office building to wherever we come, so down to there, I should be okay to dig, right?
Yeah,
Yes, because there's a berm here that you're fine at.
right. Is the electric company gonna do this pull in one day?
So no, because it's one, we go to the transformer, the proposed transformer location there.
Mm-hmm.
But we're thinking, so
Here?
what I want to do personally, because right now we're only open on weekends. So what I want to do is I want to dig through the parking lot and just get that underground stuff done while I'm only open on weekends, because I obviously can't do this when we're open 7 days a week, because I can't just have a random
Yeah, that's
Pull in the
understandable.
parking lot?
yeah,
Janet,
come on in.
you have to have somebody in there to check on the erosion control. That has to be done.
But in the to dig in the parking lot?
No,
Yes,
listen,
but this isn't the parking lot. This is
I
the parking.
no,
lot.
I'm
Yeah. So
If
up
you
till
look-
here,
yeah, if you look at the map in the slope lines, the only place you have to worry about erosion is about a 40-foot section
right
to
here.
the right of that thing. It's all slopes downhill. It slopes to the southeast. Even when you get to the traffic circle, you go in and it slopes up. It doesn't slope down towards a wetland. So at least based on this drawing. So there's the erosion control, even for the proposed transformer box. I don't think it's necessary for that. It's just a little bit around that, by the way, what is that? What is a
Existing.
handhole? What is a handhole?
it's like one of those green boxes. That's
Oh,
all.
all right, all right. But
Yeah.
that's the only way. You've just got about 40 feet or less than that. You have about 30 feet of trench is all you're going to do, where you need to get erosion control around the south of that and over to the west of it.
Yep. Okay.
Shannon, do you still have the contact information of the people who did the original site work?
I do.
So, and they're local, right? Oh, you say that like, like you don't really want to call them though.
I don't. They're very unreliable, but I will if I have to. So what do
I was just a suggestion. You can call whoever you want. But you know, they're familiar with the site and they might be able to help out, but you can call whoever you'd like.
Pretty simple.
Do we have some suggestions for her, since she's No.
I don't know that we are really in the business of
we
suggesting
don't-
Oh, yeah.
businesses.
that.
Yeah.
I think I just need because from emailing John, I was under the impression that I was kind of moving forward with the public meeting, but now it sounds like I'm not.
I don't understand that question. Yes, you're fine, Shannon.
You don't need a
You
public
You don't
meeting.
need a public hearing with a
You don't need a public
with an
hearing.
RDA.
Yeah, this is a meeting. We're having the meeting.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
I'm so nervous. I'm so sorry. Like, I really,
Shannon, you're fine.
okay.
You're fine.
Honestly.
The
I
only
will
thing
throw
want you
in,
to-
Shannon, I will throw in that there are a couple of 3 small contractors from Berlin. All this is required is a rubber tired backhoe. You're just digging a trench, right? And there's
Yeah.
nothing to that. So there are people in Berlin that are capable of doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had I wish I had them here with me because you guys are speaking a different language than I am, unfortunately. So I'm trying to take as many notes as possible, and I feel like I'm almost hurting myself in the way that I'm just the messenger. I don't honestly, I don't really know much about this whatsoever. I've learned a lot from you guys. I've learned a lot from my trench guy. So I'm trying to do it right, and I'm trying to be efficient. But I want to confirm that the red line that goes across the parking lot, so from the office up until right around where your mouse is right now,
right here.
yeah, there. Am I okay to dig there?
Yeah, you're okay to dig.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, cool. And then from there, what do I need to do?
Make sure if these erosion control barriers are still good, you're all set. Okay. If they're not, you need to put in some erosion control measures right around like this. Okay.
Okay.
And that's it.
And once they're in, give us a call.
And then you said, yeah, they need to be inspected by somebody?
Yep,
One of
we'll
us,
just come over.
yeah.
One of us will come over and, we're all local, so we can come over quickly.
Okay.
What's your timeline? When do you guys open full time?
Mid-June.
Okay, so you have the month of May and the rest of April.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a long time away, actually.
Had 2 months to work on it. Piece of cake.
Yeah. I also got off a plane today from Wisconsin, so I travel a lot. I don't run just this park, I run the other 2. So I'm kind of just hopping around a lot. So, but this is like definitely my main focus, and I really want to get this done. So
It's a pretty simple project. It really is.
Mhm.
Yep.
Talking it to death. It's
okay.
So entertain a motion to issue a negative determination of
So moved.
applicability. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, roll call vote. John, I. Louise,
Aye.
Liz,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Robin,
Aye.
Walter,
I
Steve,
Aye,
and that'll do it. All right,
you're good to
So-
go.
Shannon, I will collect signatures. You will work on the erosion control. Once I get the signatures, I'll email you and we'll sort this out. Okay?
Sounds good. Also, I have one more question, completely irrelevant from this. I bought a bunch of lumber because I want to make owl nest boxes, and I just want to make sure I do it right. / I want to make sure that's okay to do, because I've seen a bunch of owls around the area, and I thought it might be cool to put a box up near the park, because to get kids interested in the outdoors.
Sounds great to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
You could
That's
get
okay.
the bluebird boxes would do good around the park there, but owls don't nest in boxes. Well, the screech owls do. Horned owls don't.
Do barred owls?
Yeah, I was
White
thinking.
owls don't.
No.
You know.
Okay. All right.
I
Well,
couldn't tell you.
So, but you could use the lumber, like Walter said, you could use the lumber to make some bluebird boxes
okay.
and put those kind of around the edge of the parking lot,
Yeah.
because bluebirds like open meadow.
Yeah, I drive in and they all just, I'm like, oh my gosh, so many bluebirds. It's so cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd get some
Uh,
boxes up there in a hurry.
Yeah.
How
And you
about
can
that?
find those,
Now,
you
so
can
don't
find
wanna-
those plans online.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What about bats?
I have a bat box made. That was my second question. I want to put one of those up as well.
Yeah,
Good.
absolutely.
Cool.
Yep.
Make sure it's facing south, right? I think
Yes.
facing south.
I think
Be
so. Yeah,
warm.
because they like to be warmer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Shannon. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Yeah. Bye. Okay. one last thing about the wetland bylaw, just to discuss as a group. Because
I have a couple things also, but go ahead.
This might be the same. One of these might be the same thing, but based on stuff that Carolyn has told me and Louise has told me, talking with people, apparently there's a lot of concern about the matter of jurisdiction and appeal. And I think it's understandably confusing what happens if, we reject an NOI. Apparently there's some concern that if we don't issue an OOC, that they can't then appeal to the wetlands, to the DEP, Department of Environmental Protection. And in most cases, that is simply not true. You would appeal to the Department of Environmental Protection unless the thing that was being appealed on was only part of the municipal bylaw, the non-zoning bylaw. The Wetlands Protection Act and regulations indicates that they set forth a method of appeal, that it goes to the DEP before then it goes to the courts, and that the DEP can has a process for determining appeals from municipalities. Interestingly, the municipality, if they don't like the decision, the DEP can then appeal to the courts. So for instance, that thing on Marlborough Road, if we wanted to and had to spare change, we could appeal that decision. So that is still in place, even though we would have, if we had a wetland bylaw, that would still be in place. That would still be the way everything went, unless the denial was only based on something in the bylaw, something involving the 25-foot no touch zone or the vernal pool, or even a procedural matter like having the hearing post delayed or something like that. That would go to the appeals process, either by arbitration or by going to the land court or the superior court. But I somehow people were getting the impression that we're somehow getting the DEP out of the loop, and that's absolutely not true. We can't do that. We're not allowed to do that.
Right. Even if we wanted to, which we don't.
Even if we wanted to, we couldn't, because a municipal bylaw could be stricter than the Wetlands Protection Act, but it can't just simply override it. So if you're appealing to, if we felt, for instance, that something had to be denied because of its effect on the wetlands, the way we would do something now, that would still be appealed to the DEP. It's only really appealed to Superior Court, not the DEP, if it's something that isn't in the Wetlands Protection Act or regulations. So they couldn't rule on something that's not in the Wetlands Protection Act and regulations.
So anything in the bylaw, not the Protection Act, but the bylaw has to go through this process with the courts. DEP won't handle it.
That only if it's specific to the bylaw. So if you notice, the bylaw has to repeat a lot of language. So say that.
No, that's what I know what you mean.
Yeah.
If it's already in the act, and then we add on to the act with our bylaw, add language to it, it's that added language that
That's
DEP
correct.
won't look at.
Correct.
That has to go through this procedure. So every town that has any kind of bylaw, this is standard procedure, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
I got hit with that in a store yesterday, and okay.
Yeah, I got asked that
Nothing
question
new. It's
today.
common practice.
Correct. And it absolutely does not take DEP out of the loop. Every single thing that is in the Wetlands Protection Act, that DEP is still the arbiter for the Wetlands Protection Act.
Right, but they are not for the local bylaw part of it.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yep. I mean, I suppose you could also add in that we serve at the pleasure of the select board.
Right.
Who?
If we really seem to be not behaving ourselves, we could all just be dismissed.
Oh,
Right.
Oh, that's what it
Select board can
takes?
That's all it takes.
Our local select board member has
Still
raised her
listening.
hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, please let her speak. Maybe she'll dismiss us.
Peg.
Your microphone is off, Peg.
There we go. Okay. Just a question. So with town meeting not for a few more weeks, Carolyn, have you given any thought to an outside?
I have
Meeting?
given so much thought to that, Peg. You have no, Sarah, and I don't even mean that sarcastically. Yes, I
Okay.
have. I have spoken with Paul McKelk.
Okay.
I have emailed with Margaret a little bit about it. And so the current COVID restrictions for an outdoor gathering is 150 people.
Okay.
I cannot imagine we would come close to exceeding that. So I feel comfortable on that front. We're going to get in touch with Evie and see if we can do something at 19 Carter outside.
Okay.
And we will probably, that is one of the things that I wanted to talk with these guys about, was just scheduling it. I'm assuming we'll probably try to do something the end of April, beginning of May. So it's close enough to town meeting where people are starting to really pay attention to the fact that meetings are happening and information is being sent out, you know, and all of that. But yes, it is
Okay.
absolutely 100% my plan. I need to talk with these guys about having an outside meeting.
Do you want me to check with Julie Lee from Rec and see if there's anything going on down at South Common? You know, we could plunk you guys in the back on the baseball field or somewhere around the little vestibule,
that
or whatever that thing is. Okay.
That would be great. Yeah, because that'll probably hold more, would be able to spread out more. That was my only thing about 19 Carter is the outside area isn't all that large.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got the gazebo, the
Yep.
bandstand or whatever at South Common. Plus,
Yeah,
there's a
well-
lot more parking at South Common than there is right around 19 Carter.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, I'll reach out to Julie and just see, because I know last weekend I saw some folks down there tinkering with the baseball field, the first one, digging up the infield, so I don't know what's scheduled, but let me inquire for a Saturday or a Sunday and see what's there, then I can shoot you an email.
Perfect. And I do
Thanks.
have access to a portable outdoor
Microphone.
microphone. Yeah, it just occurred to me though, that probably needs to plug in. Is there electricity around?
No,
Okay.
yeah, because I can ask, but I don't know if the snack shack has electricity, but let
Okay.
me inquire if it
Because I
does,
have
then-
extension cords, but
Okay, right. let me
yeah.
ask.
So, but yes,
Carolyn, talk to me offline. I have
Okay.
a battery powered Bose.
rock on.
Okay,
So,
cool. All right.
yep.
And no, you can't quit. All right, I'm out.
Oh, wow.
Thanks,
Stuck
Peg.
that in and left.
Okay. So John, was that the only thing you wanted?
Just one more thing. The Ag Commission has a meeting a week from yesterday, so next Tuesday night. And we could potentially, you know, be invited to talk about the wetland bylaw. Unfortunately, I work late on Tuesdays and Carolyn's working late that night. So I'm not sure if there's anybody else that could make it. Because their meeting apparently is going to be very brief. So it will last, I think the meeting will last less than half an hour in total, because they couldn't wait till 8 o'clock. So if no one else can make it, then I can just let them know that I'd be happy to speak with anybody individually.
What time is it, John, their meeting?
7
On what date?
next Tuesday.
The 13th.
Yeah.
Well,
Liz, can you do next Tuesday? You're muted.
Yes. Tuesday, the 13th at 7. Is that what you said?
Yes.
And
Yep.
sorry, I stepped away. Where is it?
Online, Zoom.
Zoom meeting.
The Agricultural Commission.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm not alone, right?
Yeah, you would be alone.
Well, I might be tentative. I would say yes now, but things pop up. So, but right now I could probably do it too.
Well, don't let anything pop.
Talk to work.
All right, I'll give you a note.
No, wow, that'll go a long way. Yeah.
I'll even put it on letterhead.
Okay.
Just ping me before that, and I'll give you a heads up.
And it's to do the same slideshow that I saw.
No,
Carolyn?
not even the slideshow, just to ask if they, just to be there, if they have any questions and to kind of, John, you have some talking points put together, right? That you kind of use for this?
No, I just have that highlight sheet, which I've already given everybody, but I can
Yeah.
give again.
All right, Liz, we can,
I just
put
do this
together-
extemporaneously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that hard.
yeah,
Carolyn's presentation, I think, reads really well.
Right.
If we give it to them, if we give them that ahead of time, or if you want me to go over that, that is good flow. It hits the high points and I think answers the questions, and then we could just
Give it to them, and then we'll answer questions.
Right.
Instead
So,
of presenting it and reading it to them,
right.
that'll
right.
show the interest haven't if they can't ask questions or haven't read it, then that'll show the interest level.
Yeah, give them that and then answer questions. Yeah, I'd rather not be alone, but yeah, I can do the
Okay.
13th at
Well,
7.
count me in as of now, and I'll let you know if I can't make it. How's that? But ping me Monday or Sunday night or Monday, and I'll know better.
Okay.
okay, so
Chris.
what Liz is talking about is I have put together a slideshow.
I don't want to use it. I'm only kidding.
Rather,
Well, then you
rather
can make your
awesome
own.
slideshow.
Yeah, so I had 25 slides and then I got that question this afternoon, so I've added 5 more.
Oh boy.
I know, right?
Mm.
But I think it flows well, not every, and I think I've now shared it with a couple of people. I shared it with some people who aren't in town. I shared it with my stepmother, just to kind of get I have no idea what this is about. Does this answer my questions kind of feedback? And she had a couple of good suggestions. So I'm hoping that it will be clear. I tried to, because some of the stuff is just complicated, RDAs and NOIs and DOAs and orders of conditions and buffer zones of resource areas. And so I tried to keep it simple without being simplistic, which was a challenge.
I think it was fabulous.
Me too.
Thank you.
If we share it with all of
Yeah,
us.
so I can, and I now feel like it's done. So I can share it with everybody. And yard signs, yay! Yard signs are getting delivered tomorrow. So, just let me know how many you want so we can help distribute them. And I know I sent out a rather long and wordy email a couple weeks ago asking for everybody's involvement and got like very little response. So one of the things that I very specifically asked for was to see if people are willing to contribute financially. We don't have to answer right now, but please know that I'm looking for money so that we can so that we can pay for, you know, the yard signs are paid for. A couple people have definitely given me some donations. But if we're gonna do a mailer, we need money.
How
So,
much?
pardon?
How much?
I was asking for $150 from everybody
Totally each.
So if you want to solicit that in the form of donations, whatever, if you want to write a check, however, if you want to shake your grandchildren and empty their pockets. But I think we can do it if we each put in $150.
Can you resend the email that you sent out just to remind us?
I can, yep. Maybe I'll even,
And how would somebody get the money to you?
Good question.
you
Like
can.
unmarked bills?
Unmarked bills, you can do a check, you can do cash, you can drop it off, I can pick it up, you can Venmo it to me. However, whatever works for everybody, anybody. But we just can't do all that. I think we've all agreed the minimum that we need to do as far as getting the word out if we don't have any scratch.
What, Peg?
Oh,
You might not realize she's not muted.
yeah, I just muted her.
Thank you. All right, cool.
So there's that. The other thing that we need to think about, we don't need to actually, Peg, if you are listening, I do have a question for you, ma'am. Go ahead.
I'm here.
How is COVID affecting handouts at town meeting?
What we'll probably do at this town meeting is something that we did at last town meeting, is that we'll shove everything in a bag and hand them out to people. We are
Okay.
getting handheld voting devices. There's 300 of them that I believe that we ordered for that. Again, looking at how many people have come to town meeting in the past, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to do the stuff in the bag. So if it does
Okay.
come to any type of ballot for those people who don't have a handheld device, that you can write something down on it.
Okay, so if we have literature that we want to pass out, we should get it to you guys ahead of time?
Yeah, because we're starting to do all the coordination and setting up and who's going to do what. So yeah, we would need it ahead of time so that you could put some at each station, you know, each alphabet station or by street, however you check in.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. So guys, we need to kind of, we need to decide if we're doing handouts, if we are, what we're doing, and get those copies made, you know, obviously before town meeting.
Okay.
And I think, so like John said, we have our informational meeting, our first informational forum tomorrow night. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been working my butt off on this. So
You've been doing a fabulous job.
Thank you. But I would appreciate any and all help that anybody is able to give.
Good. Do you want to put the signs on your porch and then I can come get some?
Yeah, I actually don't have to work on Friday, so I will be around Friday.
Friday, okay.
if I'm available for pickup or delivery on Friday.
Okay.
You're welcome to stick one in my yard if I don't get to you sooner.
Okay. You know I will. I might put one on either side of your driveway.
You can do that. That's fine.
How many do you have?
I ordered 100.
Okay.
So, if we can get, obviously the more we can get out, the better. But
Were they on a corrugated type of plastic with a?
yeah,
and you walk
yeah.
the stands with them and everything?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Yep. I looked into the more environmentally friendly ones, but they're really just paper. And the cost was almost the same. And I was disappointed that our best option was the corrugated plastic, but
We'll get over it.
Yeah, I thought it was like 4 times more.
We
Oh.
can burn them. We can just burn them afterwards. I mean,
I use them in the shop, old ones from old things. I use them in the shop to do projects on. They've got
Not a
burn
bad idea.
marks and resin and stain and glue
they're good mats.
yeah.
All right. Can I get to some land management issues? Is that okay, Carolyn?
Yes.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carol.
I was contacted by Dan Stimson to take a walk around 40 caves to discuss 2 specific areas of concern. I also met Jim McCook, who's a resident of Boylston, recently retired, and he's become one of these fabulous SVT volunteers that, just helps out SVT with just keeping an eye on things. Anyway, so the issue number 1 is just sort of like an analysis of some of the trail issues there. Let me screen share. There we go. So this is SVT's map of the 40 Caves area. We parked on Allen Road. We walked in, and you can see this trail here and this trail here are rather parallel for part of the ways. And there's 2 trails that go down like this and cross the stream. One of the stream crossing is a giant rock, which is fine when it's dry, but if it's icy, it's hazardous. And they had suggested putting in essentially a wooden bridge there, and then formally riding a trail. The trail exists already; it's just not on the map. And formally putting in that trail there, which seemed like a nice idea. So that's issue number 1, is putting a little bridge over that stream there to connect these 2 areas. Similarly, I think it's right here. There's another stream crossing requiring a bridge. This spans a little bigger. It's about 12 feet. This one, I can't remember if it's this one or this one, frankly, but
I think it's the one on the right. I think there is
this
a
one?
bridge over on the left.
Maybe.
I think Dan built that one.
Yeah. You're right. There's already a bridge there. That's right. This one. And Dan had an idea that, because this is an old cart path, and essentially the stream crossing was filled in at some point 100 years ago, and the water sort of works its way underneath. And he actually wondered about opening that back up and then putting a bridge over it just so the water flows more easily through that. So that would be another thing. A third thing is there's a rogue, or maybe just not rogue, but unmarked trail that parallels this one here. If you walk uphill here, there's a trail here and a trail here. They both sort of go straight down the grade, and there's erosion, down both of these, just from the coursing of water. They turn into stream beds during the winter melt, the spring melts or heavy rainstorms. And they were wondering about actually just sort of making a more gradual sort of like trail that would fall sort of perpendicular and be less prone to erosion control, to erosion. That seemed like a reasonable idea. So this is actually a sort of rerouting a trail. So those are the three things. And Dan just wanted me to get people's opinions about, you know, these particular projects. So again, one is putting a wood bridge here, just it's a little safer than the rock bridge, which is there, and then showing the trail which already exists. Fixing up this water crossing here, and then rerouting the trail so that it doesn't isn't as prone to erosion. It is somewhat less steep. It would sort of just go like that. What are people's thoughts?
Sounds good.
Yeah. I totally trust that Dan would do the right thing. So
Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
yeah, he is pretty awesome. Yeah.
So, and I have to say, I was quite impressed with this guy, Jim. He's a nice man.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
Just on a 40 Caves note, I actually forgot to mention this at the last meeting. So AJ Moses, who built new wood duck boxes for Brewer Brook,
Oh, right. Yeah.
and installed them this winter. He's also in my wood turning club, and he got in touch with me and said he had an extra wood duck box. I got in touch with Dan to see if he had any suggestions as to where to put it, and we put it almost where your cursor is.
Yeah, it's right there. I saw it.
Yeah.
It looks cool.
Yeah, so we installed that a couple weeks ago.
Where's your cursor?
Right here. I'm moving it around.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
Yeah. So the stream actually widens out right here. It's a nice area for a wood duck box.
Yeah.
It's not actually it fattens out. That was really cool. Yeah,
So
I'm
yeah,
sorry
no,
you
it was a
mentioned
nice little project, and I had forgotten to mention it last meeting.
All right. On a less happy note, there's a rogue trail that goes up this way. Dan and I noted it last fall when we were dealing with that ATV issue, which is something that we're still sort of working on. But now there's been developed a little campsite right there. And I need to share some pictures. So let me, this part's gonna go a little more slowly just because here. So allow me to screen share. So bridge 1, bridge 2. All right. So these are, you know, this that's some shotgun shell box there, and these are shot up targets. This is just a pile of shotgun shells. It was just an example of stuff that's left behind.
Yeah, me and my family walked in there a couple weeks ago, and I carried out a big giant sheet of cardboard that had heads on it.
Right. This is they dug a hole. This is a campfire. They got a tarp there. And, you know, this is their tent tarp area. And then for the last one, it's, oops. Oh. This is what part of their firing range. This little turtle ninja thingy is about 3 feet tall. And, you know, it's back a little, you know, about 30 feet away. They stand there and shoot away at cans and targets, and they have beer stuff all over the place in this thing. And this is just, you know, that there's a trail that runs right up there. It's frankly, it's probably out of range of the shot, but it's just nuts. Now, according to Jim and people they've cited some of these people that apparently were doing this, and to some degree they're enactors. They wear costumes. Once they were like wearing World War II costumes, and each had, you know, a rifle or a shotgun and then a pistol stuck in their belt. And another time they were dressed up like cowboys. So,
well, you know, all the ninjas that were in Ninja Turtles that were in the Revolution.
yes. So they brought this to our attention. You know, I think we need the assistance of the Berlin police to try to post this as an area under surveillance. You know, SVT will work with us to, you know, they'll gather volunteers to take all that stuff away to clean up the site. And, you know, but we need to sort of get the police involved to sort of shut this down. It's just getting ridiculous. I mean, it's just a mess. It's a mess, and they're just shooting up stuff on conservation land. The Jim actually came up with another idea, which I thought was interesting. So, oops, I think I'm not share screen this. So again, the camps around here, and he pointed out, because he's been, you know, walking around here, he'd, you know, found some of the snowmobile stuff, and the police were able to talk to one of the local offenders there. But he pointed out that, you know, this big trail here goes up like this parking area, this trail goes like that. And essentially the rogue trail goes like this. So we actually could potentially turn this into a trail that runs from like here to here and post it on the map. And then one of the things that would prevent people from, even if we shut this down, from doing it again would be foot traffic. You know, people would be walking by and saying, what are you doing? You know, and they would, because right now there's, you know, they've decided this is an area where they can just set up camp and shoot things and light fires. So if we developed a trail that went from like here to here, this would be a loop that people would take. You know, most people that are going to 40 Caves park right here, you know. For legal reasons, they don't like put this part in here, but the trail's right there. It's really pretty. And then they go and they walk around here. Some people park here, some people here and here, but this is the major parking area. So you go like this, we'll say, oh, we'll take the red trail and do the big loop. And just the foot traffic itself would probably discourage this from happening again. So anyway, so that's a summary of my walk today with Jim and Dan. What are people's thoughts?
I like it being a loop.
Me too. Personally, I think that would be great. Again, when I walked with my family the other day, we parked on Allen Road and did the Orange Trail and almost all the way into Clinton, and then just turned around and came back. It would have been nice if there was a loop there. So
yeah, extra
double vote.
Mm-hmm.
Got you on that one, Steve.
Yeah, I see that. No, I like loops too. I hate going back the same path you go in.
Yep. And yes, for getting the Berlin police involved. I mean, people carrying guns and shooting up things on conservation land with people around is bad news.
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
Yep.
No, it's just ridiculous. You know, I have nothing against guns. I have nothing against camping. I have nothing against snowmobiles. But there's places where you do these things, and there's places where you don't do these things. So can somebody please be a liaison to the police about this?
I'll talk with them.
Will you do that for us, Walter?
Mm-hmm.
Thank
you
you
very much,
Walter.
All right, I'll let Dan know that. Also, we'll try to coordinate a time where, you know, we can help work with SVT to clean that place up. I mean, I think that the police need to first check it out, and then we can work on cleaning up all the trash.
Now, is this going on now? I know it went on.
Yeah.
First of it,
Yeah,
is it?
it's a fresh, it's a pretty fresh fire pit. Jim said, because Jim had been out there a few days, within a week, and he said, "Oh, this is new. Some of this stuff is new. Those shells in the ground, that picture I showed you, said, oh, those weren't there when I was here before." So yeah, it's going on right now. Those shells weren't weathered; they were just dropped there.
Yeah, that's pretty thoughtless people that would do something like that. So I have no, you know, I'm pretty inclined though to go in and kind of see if we can get an idea when they're around, have the police come in and give them a citation or something. I don't know. It's just, it irks me.
Oh, it hurts me too.
Do we have any idea who's doing it?
No, we don't.
No.
If we did, we would stop it.
No, we don't know who it is. We know they dress up in costumes, but that's about it.
They're in disguise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you, Walter. I'll let Dan know. We'll do the police bit first, then we can coordinate with SPT on cleaning up the mess.
Is it a lot of work to make a trail there, or is the trail really there?
Well, they've already made part of a trail, so continuing the trail wouldn't be hard.
Okay.
As you can tell by the terrain too, it's not as hilly there.
Right.
So
Right.
it's a relatively easy place to run a trail based on my experience. So, and everybody likes that part of it. So that's kind of fun. There's pink spray paint all over the place too. So,
Same pink spray painter that did Brewer Brook, you think?
No.
Okay.
Dan pointed out that pink spray paint is a favorite among hooligans. And also, frankly, the designs of the paint was different without getting into details.
Sure. No, no detail needed.
So, all right, great. So Walter will do that. I'll be in touch with Dan. We'll try to get that place cleaned up, and we'll talk to Dan about the cool stuff that they're doing. On a related note, I finally sent out, as we're nearing the closing chapters of COVID nightmare, I sent out an email to some people that I had expressed interest in becoming part of a trail committee for this kind of thing, and I've gotten 4 responses back, including our friend Holly, who I'm sure will drag Marcus along. And if you know anybody else, I mean, my point would be to first get together people, sort of get a sense of what it involves. I mean, at the simplest level, it just means people walking the trails and seeing if there's either shenanigans or down trees that need to be removed. It could be as simple as that. And then it can move from there on to stuff like, bog bridges or erosion control measures, bars and things like that. But at the baseline, it's just making sure people are like coordinating when they're going on enjoying the conservation land, and if there's any troubles, which just could be a downed oak or something, to let there's a way to let people know. That would be useful.
Yep.
So
I did mention to AJ when we were out there, and we may be able to rope him in. He moved here 3 years ago from Minnesota, and he was a registered naturalist with the state of Minnesota. And he's a woodworker, and so I think he would be an awesome resource.
That sounds great. Yeah. Yeah, if anybody else is interested, I mean, the more the merrier, because really most of it is just keeping an eye out. One thing that Dan did mention, being the practical man that he is, because I was mentioning that, Northborough has a pretty well-established trail commission. But apparently in Northborough, they answer to the open space people. And he suggested that made much more sense for this to be like a subcommittee of the conservation. I'm not sure how I feel about any of that. I don't know if people had any thoughts or ideas, or you just want to mull on about it for a bit.
Do we have an open space, anything?
I know.
Apparently not. I don't.
Yeah.
Us.
Oh, okay. So we'd make this as a sort of a subcommittee or something. I don't know. I'd have to talk to Margaret or the lawyers about what any of this means.
I think they're friends, and then they can raise money, but they can't be part of us, but they could come to our meetings and be on our agenda.
If
Me,
it was a Friends of organization,
yeah,
Friends of Berlin Conservation.
right?
And why do we
Friends
need to
of-
make it so formal? Why can't we
we,
just
well, we don't
Right.
really,
Yeah.
Ad hoc, I mean,
yeah,
do it?
we don't really need to make
Maybe.
it formal.
it had to be formal.
Yeah, I
Correct.
mean, it's only formal is in that there's a method to communicate, you know,
What, email? I mean, I don't get it. I don't.
or
Well-
somebody else. Like, you know, for instance, this past winter, there was a down pine and a down oak up on the Peach Hill Conservation Area, and in the land of Berlin, sounds like the land of Oz, but the and the person got a hold of what's her name, from
Rebecca.
Bolton, Rebecca, and Rebecca got a hold of Dan, and Dan got a hold of me, and I went and cut it up. It was just roundabout, you know. So it just you know, just the ways. It's really just mostly about communication, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And then other people with chainsaws.
Yeah, and also if it's kind of a ragtag team, people are in and out. If you knew that, for instance, I go around Brewers Brook several times a week. Did you see the trees I cut up, Walter?
Did you do that?
Yeah, me
Yeah.
and this guy, Richard Smith in Mosaic.
Boy, a lot of trees came down.
They did. So we would know who kind of went with what trail.
Yeah,
Oftentimes,
exactly. Yeah.
somebody that's near Brewers Brook would do Brewers Brook, and
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't
exactly.
have to be so official that it falls apart, but maybe kind of knowing who goes where.
And also just to get a hand, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, so you
Yeah.
can get more than one person there.
Yeah, that, I don't know how to say this, but it's a cautionary note. You know, I worked for about 4 decades, put a lot of time into protecting land for wildlife and habitat and naturalness. And I don't know what your vision is, but I hate to see it all turned into a recreation area for the region. Got to leave some areas. I mean, we ought to, before we start doing any more trails, you're talking about maintenance, a little bit of maintenance. I guess that's all right. But before we do any more trails, we got to do some serious thinking. There are a couple of places that should have been zoned wilderness, and just you want to go through it, you had to bushwhack. I mean, this is, it's getting, the Mount Pisgah area now, it's, boy, the first piece I got protected up there, that 140 acres, there was nothing up there. And now, you know, you go by, you see the cars on the weekend, and that's fine. I mean, it's important for people to get out and get in touch with nature, but I don't want to turn our lands and our town into a regional recreational area. That's
Walter,
the direction you're going in.
yeah, Walter, I agree with you. And also, like, definitely the building trails would be an extremely rare event. You know, unfortunately, I mean, I think as this particular case shows, we're surrounded by so many tens of thousands of people that
I know.
if there is a piece of property that we want to designate as wilderness, people will probably still go there anyway. And if there's nobody around, they're probably more likely to get up to mischief, like they did here. So it's like it's a difficult balance. I agree with you. It'd be great to, like, I think having, you know, sort of a designated area where there's, you know, completely wild would be fabulous. But I just don't. People will go in there anyway, you know. So I think we need to sort of try to find a balance of what we do. I mean, it's just tough.
Well, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I think once this COVID thing is over, people will get back to sports fields and maybe a little away from the, you know, the Mount Pisgah area and everything stuff like that. And Pisgah's been just, you're right. I think the volume there will go back down once the pandemic's over.
Yeah.
Because people don't know what else to do with themselves right now. So.
Well, yeah, Pisgah is it's overloaded.
Yeah, and it'll settle down. And I found there's graffiti up there too. You know, it's not as bad, but it's frustrating. It's frustrating. All right. Anyway, cool. That's all I have. Does anybody else have anything else?
Yeah, just a quick thought. This needs to be done too. Our lands should be managed, forested a little bit better than they are. It's all tall growth. There's not much sun getting on the ground, new growth coming up. We really ought to, or I tell you what, I'm going to look into finding out how to get help from the state and whatever to go in, do an assessment of our property. Maybe we should have funds to hire a forester or a wildlife forester to come in and help us out and get some of this land better managed. You know, it's over on Brewer Brook there, when you get up towards the north end of it on the east side, man, there are some phenomenal red oaks that died last year. And I called DCR about it. They should have salvaged those oaks, and I think they're still salvageable, but there needs to be some harvesting on our lands. We did a piece, it's been going on 10 years now, I guess, and everybody was complaining, but you go in there now, it's ideal, timber quality, wildlife habitat, and it needs to be managed a little bit. So I'll look into it and get some information back that we can discuss on what we should be doing with it.
Okay.
Walter, do we make money from the lumber they take out?
Yeah, well, you sell stumpage. I mean, red oak right now, it's going for about $300 a 1,000 board feet.
Lumber's high.
Stump. And pine is way down, $80, $90.
Yeah. So I'm going to have these 2 RDAs and the bill schedule. Are people able to stop by tomorrow, or should I drive it around? Or that's right. Oh, Liz, you're back.
I'm back. I'll stop by. What time?
I'll leave it out in the front porch.
Okay. Oh, you're not gonna put it on top of the beehive?
I might for you.
Oh, okay.
If it was only you stopping by, Steve, yes. I would put it under the beehive.
Oh, okay.
Covered in honey.
The electric fence and the bees.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yeah,
John, what time tomorrow will it be out?
By 8. I mean, I'm kind of spent now, but they're already half done because I like to prepare. So I'll just finish typing them up, print them out.
I might be able to Saturday. Tomorrow I won't be able to, unless it's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow's
I'll put them
Thursday.
out for a couple days,
Steve.
and
Tomorrow's Thursday. Oh, okay. I don't know what day it is.
Yeah, I'll come by tomorrow.
All right.
I can come by in the afternoon after work.
Yeah, I can come by too.
Anybody
I should
want
be
to
able
move
to
some
stop
mulch?
by.
Oh, you got a quorum already.
Yeah, anybody want to move some mulch? Steve, want to help me move some mulch?
What do you want? Move mulch?
No, thank you.
Oh, one other thing, the garden up at the center of town there, I
Oh, yeah.
at it today. It is buried in leaves. I don't know what we want to do. Carol and I'll rely on your advice. I'm willing to put some work in, but you know horticulture better than I do.
Well, I don't even think we got up there last year because of COVID. So it's definitely going to need a good clean out. Which we should do, in the next month or so.
Yep. There's stuff sprouting up all through it.
Sure.
Before or after the wetland bylaw vote?
Yep.
Yeah.
A couple of evenings.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's going to take more than one go around anyway. It's like I said, we didn't get out there at all last year.
Did we? I thought we might have done a little bit of work last year.
No, I think it got canceled because of either the weather or something.
Right.
I don't remember last year.
I don't know.
We could do it on an off Wednesday if people still have Wednesday evenings open.
Yeah, my April is pretty jammed with meetings at this point.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. But maybe May. Maybe it will be after the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but John, if you can keep that on the agenda for ongoing or old
Yep.
or however you want to do it.
Yep.
That way we won't forget.
Cool.
Yeah, because it would be nice to clean that up.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, guys?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Hey, good job.
Third,
All
fourth,
right.
and fifth.
All right. Roll
Thanks,
call vote.
guys.
Louise.
Good job.
Aye.
Louise. Yeah. John.
Aye.
I. Carolyn.
Aye.
Walter.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Liz.
Aye.
Rod.
Aye.